Welcome to the Coach Speak podcast, built for coaches, by coaches, hosted by Jamie Bolton and Dustin Martin. Sponsored by Ray Crowther, providing the nation's best athletic training equipment since 1932. And R4 Football Systems. Accelerate everything by decoding the game.
Hey guys, welcome back to Coach Speak. Dustin Martin here with Jamie Bolton. We have a super special guest tonight, Coach Bobby Carroll, and we owe a lot to him. If you listen to any episodes, we talk about him almost every episode because he gave us so many starts and knowledge. But before we get going, we want to shout out to our sponsor, Tsunami Bar Sports and Team Builder.
Yeah, guys, we got Coach Bobby Carroll on. Obviously, me and Coach Martin coached with Coach Carroll. I coached for him, and obviously I was at Kings Mountain with Coach Carroll for 2 years, but he's got a tremendous resume, head coaching record of 120-49. In 2008, he led South Point to an undefeated season state title, just the third year of that program. Then he went on to York Comprehensive High School, and we made it to the 2014 state finals early in that run as well. And he's coached in the Shrine Bowl, North-South All-Star game, Under Armour All-American game twice. He's had multiple NFL players, including Jadeveon Clowney, the number 1 overall pick in the 2014 NFL draft. Coach, it's awesome to have you on.
Listen, man, I'm really proud of you two guys to have worked with you, both as a head coach and as assistants, both of us. And just to see two of my boys promoting high school football is amazing, and the game of football. And I appreciate you guys having me.
Yes, sir. So, Coach, you've led some undefeated teams, coached all-star games, helped develop NFL players. But if I asked you to pick one moment that defines your coaching career, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
2-0 against Gaffney in 1993 in Memorial Stadium or Death Valley, whatever they call Clemson. It was amazing. Gaffney had, I think, 11 D1 prospects. We had one. D. Feaster went to Florida State, and they really ran the option out of the I formation. And we played a 50-shade defense and worked on it all week long. It was the second time we played them that year. And we forced them one time. We got him back on about the 2-yard line. I had to punt out the end zone, and it was a bad snap. We rushed him. He stepped out of the back. I think they thought they could score at will. And we win it 2-0, man. It was amazing. And Greg Taylor was the offensive line coach who was instrumental in helping us win a state championship at South Point.
Man,
that's awesome.
I feel like if you won a game 2-0 these days, it would make like national news. Like it would like it's almost more common to see like 89-15 than it is 2-0. You know, it's
well, they came back 4 years later and beat us 37-30, but they had this kid quarterback and a 6'5", just an amazing player. And he could throw it 80 yards and catch it all at one time by himself.
Yeah.
His name was Kentrell Jones, and he was just great. But we had Derek Ross and a couple other good players, and we made it a game. Benjamin Watson was the tight end in that game, and they got us back.
Wow.
Man, didn't who was it? Somebody said that Ben Watson was the greatest athlete they'd ever seen.
Belichick told me.
Belichick said that. That's right.
Went up to the University of North Carolina and it was 7-on-7, and I'd called Stephon Gilmore and told him, I said, hey, call Belichick's son and tell him to come watch Kings Mountain play. And sure enough, he walks over there, and me and him talked for about 15 minutes. And he said, hey, you were talking about Stephon. And Stephon had just been up there to talk to them about how to work out and how to take care of their body during the season. And he leaves, and I tell him I appreciate it and all that, you know. And it's lunchtime. We don't make the playoffs in the 7-on-7, and I'm sitting in the stands in the indoor facility, and Kings Mountain's kind of off to my right. And I see this GA walk down there, and he walked to Kings Mountain, and I could hear him. And he said, do y'all have a Coach Carroll? And they said, yeah, he's sitting right over there. Lineberger told him, he's sitting right over there. So the guy walks up and said, hey, Coach Belichick wants to see you. And I said, oh, man, I've already talked to him. I talked to him during one of the games. He said, no, Coach Bill Belichick. So I get to go down there and meet him, and he's nothing like the press portrays him. He's a great guy. Really good.
That is.
He told me, he said, man, what's in the water down there? Because, Gilmore was there, Cordero Patterson, Watson. And I said, man, Gilmore was great. He's probably one of the best athletes I've ever seen, coached in Rock Hill. He said, no, man, Watson's the best. He said, that guy could do it all.
That's
Wow.
crazy. I didn't
Man,
even think about that. I mean, obviously all the other ones too that you guys have coached, but it's a wild place, man.
it's like all
You
the
know,
names,
yeah,
like all the names that come, you hear, it just speaks Rock Hill, man. It's crazy. And coach, you kind of got into something there, and I'd like to ask, with your 120 plus wins in high school football, you've coached at multiple levels, different dynamics, from 5A to even when we were at Legion, it was 2A at the time. What do you think? It takes for the biggest success consistently in high school football? Is it talent? Is it culture? Like, what do you think after all the years and teams that you've coached, what do you think leads to the most success?
Well, coaching in Rock Hill and coaching in York, two different worlds. And, I attribute the NFL standard in Rock Hill to really back in the Jimmy Wallace, Jim Ringer days, because that rivalry got so big that it drew national attention. Well, national attention come the national coaches, the Ohio States and Florida States and all this. And then the recruiting just went crazy. And since then, man, the number of NFL players before 1987 versus the number of NFL players after 87, there's a big discrepancy there. And I really contributed to Coach Ringer at Rock Hill High and Coach Wallace putting two programs together to make them so competitive. But people used to come to me a lot of times and say, hey, I want you to do what you did for Stephon Gilmore for my son. Well, that's DNA, buddy. You can say you coached him, but you basically got him on the bus is what you did. That guy was just phenomenal. Same way with Clowney. I mean, you teach him schemes and the names of plays, but when that DNA takes over, it's hard to tackle that, hard to block it too.
yeah. So that's a lot of talent, and we just coached in that rivalry, and you can kind of feel it. We never play in it, obviously, but this past week, we were able to experience that firsthand. You kind of, man, they were in this locker room or they were in this field and they were in this stadium. And, back in the 90s, man, it had to be just the golden age of high school football, especially in this area. I don't think it's the same anymore, but man, you can still get some glimpses and a sense of that. I know we have 3 high schools now in our area, but yeah, the guys on staff still talk about, Coach Wallace. I know you guys have always talked about him and Coach Ringer and what that meant to the community. So hopefully we can kind of, keep it going a little bit. But before we go on, guys, we want to talk about our first sponsor, Tsunami Bar Sports. The innovators at Tsunami Bar Sports have really changed the way that we train. It could be training strength, power, and speed. If you've ever used a Tsunami Bar, you know it's not your typical barbell. That patented flex and oscillation isn't just for show. It teaches your athletes how to generate force fast, control it, and stabilize through the entire range of motion. You're not just lifting the weight, you're training intent, coordination, and power output. From the weight room to on-field performance, Tsunami Bar helps coaches build stronger, faster, and more resilient athletes. And here's the best part. Tsunami Bar Sports is made right here in the United States by coaches who get it. So if you're ready to upgrade your strength program, head to tsunamibarsports.com and tell them that Coach Speak podcast sent you. Train different, train with Tsunami Bar Sports. Yeah, Coach, so get into your roots and philosophy. Talk to us just a little bit about how you first got into coaching. I've always kind of wondered that. We've known each other for a long time now. But how'd you first get into coaching, and was there a pivotal moment as a player or an assistant that sparked your desire to lead a program yourself?
Well, I played at PC for a year and decided if I wanted to graduate college, there wasn't any way I could keep playing football. Because I thought football was a lot more important than English 101 and Math 101. And man, I think at PC they put us in remedial classes, sometimes just to stay eligible. But I played a year and then transferred after the fall semester, and I was at a barbecue out at Ken Weaver's in Terza, South Carolina, and he was instrumental in always inviting all of the area coaches because he had coached before. And I was out there with my daddy, and we're playing cards and having a good time, drinking some iced tea, and everybody was enjoying it. And all of a sudden, here comes Bobby Ivy, who was the head coach at Northwestern. Well, he had been my Shrine Bowl coach. And he said, Bobby, see, what are you doing here? And I said, man, I got to graduate college, man. I can't play any more football. He said, well, do you want to coach football? And I said, sure. He said, I think I can pay you $300. And he called us GAs because we were all going to Clemson. And I went out there and started coaching 2 years on JV and worked hard at it and listened and tried to learn. I knew we ran a 50. We shaded strong back in those days. And when he put me as a varsity linebacker coach, because the guy moved, heck, I didn't even know how to get the defense lined up. I was coaching inside linebackers. And I was just guessing, all right, man, the tight end's the strong side. Well, is the strong side the tight end, or is the strong side the most receiver side, or is it the wide side? So I kind of faked it for about 2 weeks, and then he caught on that I really didn't know. And somebody finally sat me down and told me, hey, this is what we're doing, really 3 weeks later, 3 weeks too late. Well, he ended up paying us $1,000, and me and Mookie Manners, Mike Manners, he played in the Shrine Boys, my college roommate at PC, and Mitch Walters, and there were a couple others that we all went to Winthrop, and I think Coach paid us $1,000. Well, then I knew what I wanted to do, so I got certified to teach, and then Earl Lovelace gave me a job teaching social studies. He gave me a job teaching economics, and I was a psychology major, and I said, hey, Mr. Lovelace, I've never had an economics course in my life. And he said, man, I thought that's what you majored in. I said, no, man, I majored in the quickest route out of Winthrop, and it was psychology. So it all worked out. And then 2 years later, he came up to me and said, will you go to Wofford and get permanently certified in driver's ed because I need a driver's ed teacher? Well, the rest was history, man. Teaching driver's ed and teaching U.S. history and economics and government was a whole lot easier, especially when you were coaching. So I then got to work with a really strong guy, football guy, Coach Wallace. And, earlier, Dustin, you asked me about, what's the key to it. And I think you guys know is, wherever you're at, it's about gaining an edge. And, sometimes when I was at South Point, we needed a bus driver. When I was at York, we needed football coaches. And if y'all will remember, we had 6 or 8 varsity coaches, not counting myself, and our JV ninth grade staff had 10 guys on it. 5 of them were offense, 5 of them were defense. And that was our edge to try to limit the number of players that one coach coached. And, we won a bunch of games at York as well, but with, sometimes not as good athletes as we had of course, at South Point, but that works. And, looking back on me being a head coach, and I remember in 2004, we were at practice at Northwestern, and Saluda Trail that feeds South Point was playing Gaffney, and they played on our track field that had lights because it was getting late in the year. And we went over and leaned up against the fence, and I'm watching Gilmore's the quarterback, and Devin Ware's the running back, and Harold White and Antoine Roseborough, and all these guys are playing. And I said, hey, man, where are them kids going to school? They said, oh, they're going to that new school, South Point. I said, well, by God, that's where we need to go. And it worked out. That first year at South Point, we were really just 9th and 10th graders, no juniors and seniors. And I left all the 9th graders together, and we left the 10th graders who were kids that didn't want to go to Rock Hill or they didn't want to go to Northwestern. So they chose to come to South Point. And the second year we played a 9th grade schedule. The first play from scrimmage in South Point history, Gilmore ran the outside veer and went 68 yards for a touchdown. And it was against Rock Hill. I don't mean to jab you guys, but that's who it was. And I don't know, the JVs might have won one game, but the 9th graders went undefeated, and the rest is history, man. The next year we go first year of varsity. They made us play 4A. We had no seniors, and we were playing Rock Hill Northwestern, Richland Northeast back when they were really good, and Lancaster, South Aiken, Lower Richland, and we go 3-8, and those boys bought into it. And Zach Snyder, who both of y'all know, became our so-called strength coach. He was a social studies teacher, and those kids went to work. And in 2008, they go undefeated. They're ranked number 1 in Massey ratings, and we got to beat Coach Wallace and Northwestern. It was like beating your dad arm wrestling for the first time. But we had beaten them bad during the regular season, then we beat them bad again in the state championship. So I hope I don't make any Northwestern people mad, but man, I love that place. I worked there for 22 years, and we played a lot of games. But get you a good coaching staff and take care of your kids, and understand, that everybody doesn't come from the same place, and a lot of coaches want your job, and that's all right. That's the kind of guys you really need coaching with. These guys that inspire to be head coaches and get you a plan and get all on the same page. The only thing I regret, and I've talked to y'all about this before, is of course with Clowney and Gilmore and Vontae Holloman and those, they were nationally recruited. And along came Alabama, and we got to meet Coach Saban, and also got invited down there. And as a head coach, there's no manual that says, "Hey, man, here, go be a head coach." You wing it, or you've learned from your experience. But I don't think I really learned me personally, how to make a practice schedule out that's that relates to the Friday night game until we went to Alabama. And we got to go for 4 years and watch those guys prepare for the bowl game, and we'd be the only tourists there, so it was pretty neat. And they let you right in, and I'm sure a lot of colleges will do that, but I just thought, man, I'm going to take advantage of this because Saban's got a pretty good record.
What's funny though is like me and Bolton, we'll talk all the time, and like even when we weren't coaching together, our practice schedules are not exactly the same, but you can definitely tell they both came from what we did at York under you, and I remember, y'all would go to Alabama and you'd bring back stuff and you'd have so many stories, and it's funny. I've heard your story of how you got into coaching, but I forgot about it. And it's wild how similar our stories were, like Spencer and I play a year of football, transfer, GA coaches at York, and it just kind of, it's neat, man. It's neat how we've kind of had the same path. But nah, coach, you could fool me if you said you didn't know how to do a practice schedule, because I thought the York practices were probably the most efficient that I had been around up until that point. And we just try to get better every year. And man, we know we'd make you proud if you saw what we did every day. We start every day with circle chase or buddy tackle, man. And then it's my favorite 5 minutes of practice. I love it, man.
Hey, listen, man, we need to get the band back together and rock and roll one more time. I'm 63, man.
You're in your prime. You're in your prime, man.
Yeah, I'll just be a good position coach for you.
I hear you.
Well, man, Coach, real quick, what I truly appreciated about you, man, was it be Tuesday. We're coaching, for an opponent. Hey guys, I got 4 films for next week. Y'all continue to work. I'm gonna ODK it and get this stuff going for us. Like I truly appreciated that, man. Like, dude, you would sit there and say, "Hey, man, I got 4 films on the team next week. I'm gonna get it all ready for us for the weekend." Like, man, that didn't go unnoticed, man. That's a big deal.
Well, here's the thing, man. I remember I got off an airplane after the Under Armour game in January of 2011, and I cut my phone back on, and I missed a call from Steve Boyd, who was the athletic director at York, and he said, "Hey, man, come home and coach your son." Spencer was a 10th grader at the time, and we'd beat him 56-7 in the regular season. That's when Sherry called me during the game or texted me and said, "Hey, if you don't stop it, you need to find you another place to live." I don't know, man. York was really bad, but I went to the secret meeting per se, and nobody was there but me and the superintendent. And this is something that you guys, as y'all apply for head jobs and they want to offer you a job, the first thing you ought to ask them is, "Hey, Dr. Prosser was the AD, the superintendent at the time." I said, "What kind of football program do you want to have? You're the boss. What kind?" He said, "I want to win just like you guys did at Northwestern. You guys did at South Point." I said, "Well, then I'll take the job because you're the boss. And if you want to win, winning's expensive. It is." And, I used to talk about fundraisers, and I'd say, "Look, the best fundraiser in the world, winning. People come watch you play." And so we took that York deal. And the reason I could chart film during the day is because they didn't make me teach school, and had a lot of time that we could spend on football, and we'd get it done. But, that film stuff comes from Coach Wallace. My first year coaching, it was reel to reel. That was in 1983. And then we went to VHS. Then we went to DVDs, I guess. And then when Strait took over at South Point, we were about to play them. And he said, "Hey, do you have huddle?" I said, "Man, no, what is huddle?" And he said, "Man, it's neat. You ought to get it." And I remember every email I got that had huddle on it, I thought it was like a spam, so I deleted it. Well, finally we signed up for it, and, they improve every year, the huddle assist where you don't have to do down distance hash and all that stuff. And I can remember, we can remember when we all worked in the late 80s and even 90s. We charted film all different ways. We even used Palm Pilots one year with Digital Scout, and it was really amazing. But getting that film stuff came from Coach Wallace. I'll never forget, before we played them in the state championship, he called me and said, "All right, man, what do you want to swap?" I said, "Coach, are you kidding me? I got all 14 of y'all's games, and I know you got all 14 of ours." And I don't know, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that that film really helps us.
That's awesome, man.
It's
Now I'll
all
never forget, man, like when I got on staff with you in 2014, you had been at York since when, 2011?
Yeah, I came in the spring of 11.
So I guess that was y'all's 4th year, and y'all had them rolling, man. And I'll never forget. I'd been in North Carolina for like the past 4 years, and when I went in there, man, I thought I was going into dang Alabama. Like it was like a whole different vibe. It was a different seriousness, and not anything against the places that I was at in North Carolina, but like when I walked in there, you knew winning was important, like from the top down, because the interview as a teacher, they interviewed me about coaching and you go in there and you hired me as a JV coach, and I was just lucky to be in that room with that staff that you
Man,
had
I'm
put
sorry,
together.
man. I should have moved
Yeah.
you straight to the varsity.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I was over there getting personal fouls on JV, like throwing my visor at the referee and crap.
That's all right, man. That's all right.
We had some good times though, man.
Yeah, we did.
We did. Those were
Hey,
excellent.
man,
That really taught us how to be a coach. I mean, it
we
taught us
beat
how to coach.
Gaffney 3 out of 4 years, and we beat Bowling Springs 4 years. And man, that's back when Bowling Springs. I mean, I hadn't kept up with them now, but they were pretty good back in those days. Coach
Oh
Clark,
yeah. Oh yeah,
yeah,
Coach Clark. Yeah.
beat Sumter. We beat some really
Mhm.
good football
That was
teams.
fun. That was a fun year in 14. I'd gotten there that year, and then we went to the state championship. I'm like, man, I guess this is how it's going to be every year. It was one of those, but
Spartanburg was a lot better than us, man. They had
they were.
Tavon Feaster and that Rooks kid,
Mhm.
that little quarterback. I don't remember his name, but they were just better than us. That's what I told our guys last week at Kings Mountain. I said, "Hey, listen, I spoke at our touchdown club meeting last night. And I said, a lot of times, man, the team's just better than you. You can, you know, I had this guy walk up to me in Kings Mountain. I was getting a sub at the place, Sub Factory. You've
It's a
been
great
there."
place.
The guy said, "Hey, man, what happened to y'all?" And, that just makes you blood boil. That's like telling a woman, "God, you've put on a lot of weight," and uh, you don't say that to somebody. I mean, you take this serious. You put a lot of time in. I spend 12 hours a week driving that car to and from Kings Mountain. It's, and it's not like I'm making $1 million or something.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'd do it for free, and so would y'all.
How did you like doing the Under Armour All American stuff? What did you kind of glean from that? Was that a cool experience with the Under Armour
Oh
stuff and
man, it
Shrine
was
Bowl stuff?
amazing. The and the way you get in is having a player play in it. And of course, we had Gilmore one year in Clowney, and you don't do anything but coach football. They hire some old college guy that's retired. I mean, he's running an old 50 they got rules. You play a 50 defense, and you got these 6 or 8 linebackers that I mean, they're truly all Americans. One's going out, 2 of them went to Alabama, one of them went to Michigan State. And I mean, it's really amazing. So what they want you to do is just do drills and stuff. So ESPN will have something to show, and I don't know. It's really cool. You meet a lot of good people. I met Kerry Stevenson, man, who ended up being a kind of a player personnel guy at Alabama.
Mm.
He was at Viger High School in Alabama down in Mobile, and they won some state championships. And he went to work for Coach Saban, and that was another end. Him and Burton Burns, and then South Sinceri's son, Vinny, who's the defensive coordinator at Florida. I guess he's still the coordinator. He was one of the linebackers, and man, you didn't have to teach them anything. They were football minded people. Trey Priest and some really good players, and I'm still friends with some of them, and they're coaching college football now. But it was good. It was really nice. But I'll be honest with you, and I hope I don't offend anybody that's listening, the Under Armour game, the Shrine Bowl, and the North-South, there's nothing better than the North-South game.
I like that one better than the All
South Carolina Coaches Association puts that on,
Mhm.
Football Coaches Association, and it's they look after the kids and they look after the coaches.
That's
Really
awesome.
good.
Yeah, I think Coach Boggs is on that this year. Like,
That'll be
if I'm not
good.
mistaken. Yeah, he's a good
Tell
dude.
him I'm sorry every time I say him.
Nah, man, he loves you. We had him on,
He
a couple
does.
months ago, and we were just talking, man, like, your coaching style, I really appreciate it because we
Mhm.
always knew exactly where we stood with you all the time. Like, you weren't our buddy, you know what I mean? And that was totally fine, but you were always not our buddy. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It wasn't like
I gave
it
y'all
was.
the biggest coach's office.
Yeah, you
Y'all had
did.
the big
Yeah,
coach's
you
office.
you put
Defense
you made
guys
your
were
office the storage room.
yeah, we're in the storage room, the defensive coach.
And then your office, the head coach's office was like, no one went in there. There was like maybe like some kind of beanbag chair or something in there, but
Yeah.
and
I
like
didn't go in there either, so it didn't
yeah,
matter.
yeah, exactly. But no, man, it was just it was a good staff. I thought you always kept us on our toes, and that one point you had that packet that Coach Martin was talking about, that packet. You read through that packet every year, and that last point on that packet was always, "Hey, man, if you're tired, pray for strength." And
That's
then
right.
that was like an ongoing like statement that we'd always tell each other as coaches when you weren't around, obviously. But that
And
was
it didn't
some
matter,
good
man. I
times.
knew y'all were talking bad about me.
Oh
It
no,
wouldn't be a good
man.
It'd be like this, hey man, I'm tired today. Hey man, pray for strength." We
Yeah,
just keep on,
yeah,
we keep
that's
on
right.
getting it. Hey man, keep your hands out of your pockets, guys.
yeah.
Well, it's like all those Bama coaches, man. I said, "Hey, what time do y'all have to be here?" And he said, "Man, we have a staff meeting at 7 a.m. And this is when it's not football season." And I said, "Well, when do y'all leave?" And they said, "After Coach Saban leaves."
There you
And that's
go.
usually around 10:30 or 11 at night.
Yep.
And
We
he
were
was
always afraid to leave. We got there at so we for you guys that don't know, listening, we would meet on Saturday morning, and we'd get there supposed to get there at 8, but hell, we get there at 7. We ain't letting the dang defensive coaches come in early. So we wanna make sure our trucks were there, at 7 a.m., and then we'd be afraid to leave, you know, until Coach Carroll came in and comes in the office and says, "Hey, man, we got him." That was kinda like our, "Hey, man, you guys are good
man,
to
them
go
were some
home."
good days.
Those are good days, man.
I do that
And
to
we'd feed
Uh,
him, man. We'd make sure
yes.
you
oh,
feed
yeah,
your boys.
And Sherry bring some wings,
some
and
wings.
that'd
Yeah.
be good.
I do that to Bolton
Man, it was
every
good times.
Sunday. I walk over there. Hey man, we got him
Hey, man, we got them.
every
Well,
Sunday.
you know how that's let me tell you how that Saturday morning working went. Coach Wallace at Northwestern, we were bad. A lot of us weren't married. So after a win, or it really is after a win, we'd go out and stay out late. Well, Coach Wallace knew it. And so to combat that, he would say, "Hey man, 7 a.m. tomorrow, everybody be here." There were nights we'd stay up and wait on the newspaper to come out at 4:30 and get it and read the Herald, back when it was a daily newspaper. And then the really good part of it that I always thought that if you worked on Saturday morning and you got it done, you had Sunday to prepare for
Mhm.
school or spend time with your family. And if you didn't get it done on Saturday morning, you could always come back Sunday afternoon after church or whatever and finish what you were doing. But with Huddle now, that knocks out
Yeah.
tremendous hours. It's crazy.
Well, we
Uh,
used to
I told the Kings Mountain staff, I said, "Look, man, we've got to get on the same page about calling formations.
mm,
The whole right 88, spread 99, left 88. And, we call something deuce. Well, what's deuce to us three is right 89 or left 98 to us, because when they chart a film that we going to play, further down the road, if they've put the name of the formation in there, that's one less thing we have to do. All we have to do is name the
Mhm.
play. But it's hard to get on page when, we went from playing an empty team to playing a team that you could throw a blanket over 22 players,
Mhm.
and they're post cutting our kids, man. And
Mm.
I think our kids were literally kind of, I don't want to say scared, but they didn't want to hurt their knees. We had
Yeah.
one kid get his ankle blown out on a post
Mm.
cut, and it's just that offense is just hard to duplicate at practice, and it's the teetotal of what we see now.
Yeah, I make sure everything we do defensively, charting and talking with the kids, I try to use Jamie's terminology. I have that luxury of
well, helps
knowing,
tremendously.
like I know all of his stuff, so it's just like, man,
Yeah,
and we have probably 5 players that play both ways, and it helps them understand, like, hey, when Jamie calls twins, they know what it is on offense, so it's easy to teach them that on defense. Hey, we're going to see twins a lot this week. But Coach, something I really appreciated coming up as a young coach who didn't know anything about football was you never assumed that anybody on the coaching staff knew what to do or knew what you meant. Like, you took the time to go through it, and it wasn't like hey guys, I'm gonna go through this like you or our 5th graders, but it was, hey, this is the expectation of exactly how I want it done. And I think a lot of people these days, and including me, I've made the mistake is you assume someone knows what you're talking about. And I thought you did a really good job of that back in the day.
Well, when Bobby Ross, was that who was at Georgia Tech? Coach Ross?
I
He
think
was
so.
at
Yeah.
Maryland. Well, he had O'Leary, the guy that went to, Notre Dame, and I think he fibbed on his resume or something and ended up not hiring him. We went there, and, that guy's talking all this stuff over. Coach Wallace got us there at like 7:30 in the morning, and the secretary said, hey, the coaches won't be here till 10. That was another one of them things to keep us from going out and having too much fun the night before. And we probably did it anyway. But, O'Leary, you can be clinical with somebody and they might be half asleep or shaking their head in agreement. Yes, sir, I understand. Well, O'Leary would hand you the marker, say, all right, get up there and show me. And, it's like we had a guy named Danny Smith who was a specialty team coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he sent us a packet down there, and we use this all the time. He said, hey, man, we're going to run nickel 2-deep zipper 23 soft. Well, everybody thinks, man, what, nickel 2-deep zipper 23 soft? Man, that's crazy. Well, when you break it down, and it's really not that crazy, but the terminology among coaches is just outrageous. What people call stuff. It's just like this whole flex 6 bump Bronco world and the 50 shade defense. Well, they're really the exact same. That free safety, our middle of the field safety, we call the strong safety. And that free safety is really our old drop in, but the front's the same. You got a bubble side and you got a surf side, we call it, where there's a 3 and a 6 or 3 and a 5 or 3 and a head up 6 with a tight end. Then away from it, you got a 5 technique and a shaded nose, or it might be playing a 2-eye. Well, the cool thing about flex 6 is the coverage that comes with it. As y'all well know, the whole world will rip this match because, you can't play country club cover 3 and 4 verticals they run on you, and you can't cover them, especially the seams. Those corners can, but in Ripley's match, you can do that. And it looks like you're in cover 3 or fist coverage or whatever you want to call it. But in all actuality, you're playing match. And that's what makes the difference between flex 6, bump Bronco, which flexes the front, 6 is the coverage, bumps the corner technique, and Bronco's the train check when you get trips with a nub tight end backside. But, Dante Barty, who both of y'all know, is a legend. He's at Oregon right now, and he's gotten us. Dan Lanning did a clinic down in Atlanta, and they really did the statistics and how much they were in a 4-man front and a 3-man front. And over the years, over like a 5-year period, it had really shifted to a 3-man front, and they run this defense called MINT, which stands for man inside technique. Then they play cover 4 mod or 4 meg, and the difference in mod and meg or how you play the smash route. And we play more meg, but when we got some time, we need to sit down and let Jamie knows a little bit about it, but and you probably do too, Dustin. It's really some good stuff. But one day I'm gonna retire and go out there, and if anybody wants to put in a defensive package, call me.
Heck yeah, we'll put a plug in.
BC Defense and Hay Consultant. All your needs,
That's
everything
right.
you need.
Coach, man, I
It's way better than football.
That's right. Very good. I remember you, one thing that really changed just talking about being on the same page and having your staff and the cohesiveness and, handing the marker to somebody, because you don't really know who knows what, a lot of times. And I remember you made us do an in-house clinic, I believe in 2016 or 17. And I remember being the receiver coach, but you made all the position coaches go through and do like at least a 30-minute presentation about their individual period, how what skills that need to be developed, what drills you're going to do to develop those skills. And that really kind of changed my entire outlook on what my role was as an assistant coach. And we've talked about that a lot on the podcast, but I thought did y'all do that with Coach Wallace too? Where did you get that from?
Listen, man, me and David Pierce, who's at Northwestern now, we used to meet. I wasn't married, and his wife was an accountant, so he had a lot of time. And during the summer, we'd see who could come up with the most drills. And that's another good thing about Coach Wallace, man. If we said, hey, Coach, there's a guy out in Texas that's come up with this amazing stuff, man, he'd fly us out there and we'd go clinic with the guy. And he didn't care. Goes back to saying winning's expensive, and it is. But, our individual periods were based on stance, alignment, technique, keys, and responsibilities. Well, there's one part of it, or really two parts of it, that we neglected. One of them's block destruction. In defense, you can do all the drills you want, but if you can't get off a block and know the gap integrity of your defense and know how to tackle, and that's an issue we've had this year because of the low numbers, man, it's hard for us to go live at practice. And you can't all of a sudden turn it on and tackle a good running back or a good quarterback or a good receiver if you hadn't done live tackling. And, all of us know Hans at Ray Crowther, and, we use the tackling rings, we use the Jacks tacklers, and we use all kind of tackling apparatus, but there's nothing that will take the place of tackling somebody live. That's a hard part of practice.
That's difficult, and it's also difficult for a defense to get a good look with offensive linemen these days too. If you don't have 10 offensive linemen, well, who are you putting in there at offensive line? You're going to put your guys in there, and if you lose one, then now you're really in trouble. So now you're probably putting in some defensive linemen, some JV kids. That's hard too. And then everything in the backfield is just going to get crushed by your defensive line. Then now your secondary, you can't get any good reads from your linebackers. I mean, it can make it an issue when you're thin.
And then when you got to go to the point of if you got a senior laden team, or even 50-50 with juniors and seniors, when you practice with 9th and 10th graders, do you really want a 9th grader going live against a senior?
Right.
That's and all of our days at South Point, we did not have one freshman ever play on the varsity, not even Clowney. Clowney was 2 years behind Gilmore, and he didn't start playing varsity really full time till he was a sophomore in high school. Because there's a big difference, in the physical makeup of the kid.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want the kid to get shell shocked and then have a bad experience and then lose confidence. I mean, there's I don't even think a lot of teams have 9th grade football in South Carolina anymore, do they, Dustin?
I saw where a team was playing Louisville, right down the road from here, and they had to cancel because they didn't have 15 players. A bunch of players got hurt. And that's terrible. And, the whole concussion world scared people off. And, that's another thing, coaching kids properly now. It said, don't use it, man. Don't keep your head completely out of tackling if you can teach it. And it's crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree, Coach. We want to get into turning points and some big wins that you had once you made your move to York. Before we do that, I want to shout out to our other sponsor, Team Builder, the premier strength and conditioning software built for coaches who want to win in the weight room and save time doing it. Look, we've all been there, juggling spreadsheets, tracking lists by hands, and trying to keep athletes accountable. Team Builder fixes all of that. It's the complete platform that lets you build, track, and communicate your training program from your phone or even your laptop. Whether you're coaching 10 athletes or 300, Team Builder helps you monitor practice, customize workouts, and instantly see data that actually drives performance. I use it, Jamie uses it, and our athletes love it. And you can try it for free for 30 days with the promo code CoachSpeak. Start your free trial today and take control of your strength program with Team Builder.
Yeah, Coach, just talking about turning points and big wins in your career. Before we kind of get into those pieces, I'm really interested in what your philosophy is on strength conditioning. I mean, you've had several strength conditioning coaches. I think that was a big hire for you when you first got to York, and then you hired someone else. And then talk to us about what you like to see emphasized. You've seen it for a long time. I'm sure you saw the very beginning of strength conditioning being implemented in high school to where it is now. But talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was huge at Northwestern. We were a squat, power clean. We'd bench press just because, the kids like to do it, and push press. We used the jammer machine, but Coach Wallace was, man, a gigantic advocate of just physical strength. And, we had a bunch of 300-pound benchers, and our goal then was 250 in a power clean. Well, Stephon Gilmore, I know I keep mentioning that name, but he's a great player. He was our quarterback and played safety. And he was probably in high school 6 foot, 185 pounds. He power cleaned 320 pounds. Well, that's an
That's
amazing
crazy.
athlete that can run, still run 4.4. But it's huge. And if you're not doing it, and some coaches don't like the weight room, and it's a hard job for a strength coach. That's why, or a coach that coaches football, because you're in there with them for 180 days and you're making them do something that some of them don't want to do. So we were fortunate at York to hire, a strength coach that didn't have to coach them in the afternoons or whatever. And we could just go in there and try to motivate. And we knew the people we need to poke to get them going. But, Zach Snyder was our strength coach at South Point. He was also the defensive end coach, and he came to York with us and did a lot of weightlifting there. And Jamie, you did as well. And it's huge, but it's got to be somebody that the players trust and like, and they know that they're seeing results. And if you're not in that weight room, you're getting behind. I just talked to the big supporter up at Kings Mountain. I said, "Look, man, y'all need to build a new weight room."
Mm-hmm.
And something that those kids love going into, and they take a lot of pride in it. They got a beautiful field surface. They're redoing their press box and stands. They got a nice field house. Now they need to top it off with a nice weight room and let the whole school, as well as the middle school or junior high, whatever you want to call it, use it. But we've been fortunate. I remember at Northwestern, we had the auxiliary gym. I think Rock Hill does too, and it
Yep.
became a weight room later on. But I can remember 50 Olympic bars out there with, rubber bumper plates on it, and us having 100 players doing power clean, 2 to a bar, and it was just an amazing sight. And that's, to me, that's the best lift, that power clean. And those squats are really important, and it makes a lot of difference.
I think so too. I think confidence is one of them. I mean, I think if you can, your throw, people are, there's a big, should we do a full power clean? Should we do this or should we break it down? I really like it. I think when you have the, what do this is your term, intestinal fortitude to jump underneath a bar that's 250 pounds. I mean, for the first time, or even 225 for some of these kids, that's a big step. And then if you say, hey man, if you can power clean 225, you could play at any level in high school. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that's a big one for a kid.
And
You know?
that number gets out there to where does the risk of injury
Hmm.
outweigh the reward? So you got to be careful as a coach and know, hey man, 250, 260, 270 for a
What's the
skilled
difference?
athlete,
Yeah.
that's enough.
Yeah. It's like a squat. It's like, do we really need to squat 550 pounds? Like,
Do,
okay, in the off season, maybe, but like,
do an Olympic squat and do a full range of motion and do a
mhm,
matrix and, do 5 sets of 8 at half the weight of your
correct. And move
max.
it fast,
Yeah, that's
but,
right. That's the deal, speed. You
mhm.
can't coach that stuff very well.
Yeah. Coach, so you said you played a year at PC and you've coached high school football for a long time. What do you think separates high school football from any other level like college and pro that just makes it so special, but also keeps a guy like you involved in it for so long?
Well, it's the anticipation of maybe one day I can be a college football player and go to the pro. Hey man, I remember my first day football, and we called it Pop Warner, and the weight limit was 130, and I got my doctor to lie and put down 128, and I was in the 4th or 5th grade, I can't remember, and they had scales they were weighing us, and that time I made weight. Second year I had to fib with Dr. Pratt, and then the guy comes up to me, and he ended up being a big supporter at York, and he said, "Hey man, what position do you want to play?" And I said, "Quarterback." And he said, "No, no, 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 man. You and John Moorfield gonna be tackles." Well, man, I didn't even know where a tackle was. I didn't know where it lined up. I'd only played in my neighborhood, and man, who doesn't want to be a running back or a quarterback? But it's just that's what makes high school football so fun. And, it's just, it's kids you grew up with most of the time. And I know kids are transferring left and right now, but, it's people you've grown up and played junior high with and stuff. And just to, be successful and win and enjoy it is what makes it different. You're not doing it for NIL money, even though I know that might even be trickling down into the high schools now, not in this state, but, in other states, I think they do have it. But I don't know. It's just nothing like Friday nights.
Yeah, something special, and that's one thing that I've always been drawn to. Like I've changed jobs several times, but there's something about Kings Mountain. That's a great Friday night experience, and then people even around where we're at, they don't really understand it. Cleveland County, that football, that's as big time to those communities as anywhere. I mean, the crowds, the fans getting on coaches. I mean, there's a lot of like
Oh, yeah.
it's important to people, and that's because generationally it's been important. Just like in
Yeah.
Rock Hill and several places in South Carolina, but that Friday night feeling is a big part of I think why I enjoy it so much.
And, there's so many kids that can play high school football that will never have a chance to play,
Mhm.
college football. I mean, y'all have seen it. High school recruiting's not even the same now with
Oh man, yeah,
There's not that coach that's on the bubble of getting fired. He doesn't want to take a freshman or a kid straight out of high school and develop him for 2 years. And when he can get, he can be at some college and he can get the second teamer from another big college and come in there and play immediately.
yeah.
It's
Or pay a starter more money.
that's
It's just
right.
it's a wild.
If you don't have $5 million, man, you can keep walking. Look at the guy Carson Beck. Kid
Yeah.
have never made $7 million if he'd gone in the NFL.
Mm-mm.
Not his first year. I don't know if he'd have got drafted in the, I don't know what round. I don't know, but Miami paid him all that money, and they get beat the other night, and he throws 4 picks, and I think 2 of them were tips. So you can't blame him.
No, that's the reason you have like these rookie quarterbacks that are older than like the 2 and 3 year veteran because
Yeah,
they're making more money.
man,
It's
COVID came through, and everybody's playing college now for like 8 years, and
yeah.
COVID was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Not
They were in like middle school when like COVID was around. It's like,
exact.
oh man, but no, that's crazy, man. But I think now's a good time to get into we got a rapid fire session here, coach. So we're just gonna throw some kind of random questions at you. You're a great storyteller, so hopefully we can get a few out of you for our people listening. But who's the toughest opponent you've ever schemed against? That could be coach, team, whatever. Who's the toughest one?
Burns in the 1980 when Bo Corn was a coach. He ran deuce formation, but he was quarterback under center. That's
Mm.
pro to one side, twins to the other. We were running 50 shade. It was extremely hard to defend them dudes. Really hard.
Back then, are they running like pass concepts to the
They're
twin
running
side?
it.
They were
Yeah, they're running inside outside zone. They're running GT counter. They running zone keep. Or the quarterback keeps it. They're throwing the thing all over the yard. And then Ringer, I think he was a big Gamecock fan. And remember when South Carolina got in the run and shoot, they had a little
Mhm,
quarterback there, Pat Peeler, that he threw for some crazy. And they're in what I call spread 67. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
mhm,
True run and shoot. And they're throwing it all over the place. And here we are playing Cookie Country Club cover 3, and they're going 4 verticals, and it's crazy. And then here comes Dave Gutshaw from Dorman, excellent offensive football coach, man. I mean it. He was phenomenal. He brought a lot of that spread stuff. And then, sometimes it's just an athlete like Kentrell Jones at Gaffney. God, man, there was no way to defend that guy. I mean, he's 6'5" and he can throw it a country mile. And there's just those teams were tough. One thing we did at York, and you guys were there, we beat Gaffney for the first time in the history of York existence. And I think we beat them 3 out of 4 times. They thrashed us one time though.
mhm.
We beat Sumter in Sumter, and I remember, and I'm sure y'all do. We get off the bus and walk out there, and their players are like laying all over the field. I said, "Boys, we are in some serious trouble." Man, they had them, son. They had the good-looking kids, and uh, we ended up beating them somehow, and it's because of dudes like y'all, man. That's what it's all about. And, looking back in my head coaching career, I think I should have done a little bit better job of loving up on them assistant coaches, because at the end of the day, if they bought into your program and they believe in your system, they're the ones that do all the work. Them coordinators line stuff up. I don't think I've ever said anything to an offensive coach in my life about anything except, hey, man, how about getting a couple of first downs so they won't score on us again? And Jason McManus, he got all butthurt about that, But, I also asked Jason when I was at Kings Mountain, I said, hey, man, how do you guys call these X, Y, H? I mean, all these receivers. Well, they said, hey, coach, I'll send you this PowerPoint. And, man, 2 days later, I get a 64-page PowerPoint on how to letter receivers. And I'm thinking, oh, man, I'm not going to
Spread 67 it is.
Yeah, it's crazy. But, y'all were there. We played some good teams, and we lost some games we shouldn't have lost. And,
No, I mean, I the only thing that I remember vividly in the back of my mind, and I scream it every day when we go into the special team, is "Hunt it!" It's like a pissed off punt it.
yeah, that's as mad as I ever got at the offense. I was letting y'all know.
You're good. You're fine, man.
Y'all can't get a first down punt.
No, I was like, hey guys, can we get a first down, y'all? We're trying, and then Knox would be like, hey man, we're trying.
And then Grady would smart mouth, and Knox would tell him, shut up, Grady. Hey, man, I love you.
I'm just signaling fast. That's all I'm doing.
That's so funny, man.
That's good stuff, man.
Nah, Coach, you talk about some of those great quarterbacks and whatnot. There's nothing more demoralizing than when you line up on defense and you stop the quick game, you stop the bubbles, and then they get to intermediate pass game and you got good coverage, and then he pats it once, he pats it twice, and it takes off. It's like there's just nothing. And we played 2 teams this year, and one of our goals is we don't want to allow the offense to have any 15-plus yard runs. And both of the 2 teams that had really great quarterbacks, both of them had 6 or more. It was 6, I think it was, 15-yard runs, and it was all scrambles off of pass plays. So, man, nothing more demoralizing than that.
There's no doubt. Hey, man, when we were at Northwestern, some in our off time, we created these axioms of life. And the very first one was don't get beat deep. And, the second was take away what you can by alignment. Well, heck, man, this year we've had issues with lining up right, more or less stopping somebody. And, a lot of times you do everything perfect, and that dude across from you is just a little bit better, a little bit faster, a little bit stronger, and it doesn't matter what scheme you're running. I try to tell people that all the time. Listen, man, I'm the same dude that was here in 23, 24, and we're running the same defenses. And you get dealt a hand of cards, man. We don't play 5-card draw in football. You don't say, hey, man, these 3 aren't any good. Let me throw them out and give me 3 new ones. You got to play with the cards you're dealt. And, you just love on them boys and, go 1-0 every week and see how it falls at the end.
Well, me and Dustin were talking about this too. It's like those challenging years. I mean, and even my time at other schools too, it's like in the challenging years, you become a much better coach because you're not relying on, let's say you have a really good athlete at quarterback. Well, I see it every week. It's like, all right, this concept didn't work. And then he kind of scrambles for a first down. And then it's like, this concept doesn't work, kind of scramble again. And then, some stuff will pop. But in those years, you really don't want to overcoach, right? You want to let your guys play. But in the years you don't have that guy to manufacture yards, that makes you a better coach. And people aren't going to always see that because they're just looking at the stat line or whatever it is. But to manufacture with, maybe not a mobile quarterback or maybe not a really good offensive line, or like, maybe you're at a place where you got really young players that play both ways. Well, it's going to force you to adapt a little bit. So it's kind of a blessing in a way.
Look at what you did in 23 at Kings Mountain, man. You took a baseball catcher and made him a quarterback. And we won 9 or 10 games. How many games we won? 10?
We won 10 games, yeah.
Yeah. And, it was really amazing.
It made me a better coach, yeah.
Still, man, that position in high school football is so important.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be the guy,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to go to make a run for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have one.
You got to have that guy. And it's like, that everybody says, hey, Belichick, he wouldn't have won anything without Tom Brady. Well, the only coach that I know in my life that has won consistently and didn't have a good quarterback was Coach Gibbs at Washington. You know, they were good quarterbacks, but they weren't Brady's. But who doesn't have? I don't care if it's Pee Wee football,
Right.
school, college. Those good teams usually have great quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Regardless of who the coach is.
Look at
Exactly.
every team, I bet, in North Carolina and South Carolina the last 5 years, every team that's played in the state championship has a gunslinger at quarterback. Or
Right,
either
exactly.
he can run, you know what I mean? It's just like like in South Carolina, like you know, West Side had Cutter Woods, South Lawrence, Lenore Sellers,
Yeah.
Northwestern had Finley Polk last year. Irmo had, I can't remember his name, but he was the head coach's son, an outstanding player at quarterback. It's one of those.
Yeah, I mean, we had Tyler Green at Cannon. I mean,
Yeah,
like you
yep.
you got to have one. You got to have one, and
Day Shaw,
and that's the
2014.
nature. Yeah, Day Shaw. Yeah,
Guy looked like an offensive tackle, but he could throw it a couple
6'4",
miles.
260.
North
Yeah.
All state in basketball too,
North South
Right.
for football
Made
and
it out
basketball.
owns.
as a point guard.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is.
It's just
That is
absolutely
wild.
crazy.
That's
And then
wild.
you know the factor of the air raid when you know Northwestern was running the air raid the year we beat them in the state championship, and Richardson, I think he coaches at Clemson still, and you can have all the Jadeveon Clowney's you want rushing, but man, that ball's gone in like 1.7 seconds. It's gone. And they don't care if they gain 3 yards or 30, you know, and however many yards after the catch they can get. That's a big deal in that offense. Well, when we got the York job, I knew for a fact that was a hard offense to defend. So that's how I got McManus. He was at Troy, coaching at Troy, or an analyst or something. And I drove down to Troy University and interviewed the guy. And I said, well, can you get certified? And he said, yeah. So we hired him. And York was 1-9, 2-8, 0-10. I don't know what they were. Spencer said they won 2 games. I don't believe they did. But anyway, you know, we go 10-4 that first year and get beat by South Point in the upper state championship or whatever it is, you know, to go to the championship game. And then, you know, it was because of that offense, and we did have a few dudes on defense that could play.
Yeah, I remember those games, man. I was at the 2008 state championship game at Clemson. Is that right? When you were at
Yep.
South Point, and then I think I was at the upper state one when you were at York, and you had the safety. What was the safety that was real good? He maybe returned a couple of punts.
Lee Wright.
Yes. Yeah, I think I was at that
That's
game.
the
Maybe.
toughest football player I've ever coached in my life, or on any team. That dude, he'd play with a broken leg. It didn't matter. He was tough, really tough, man. I'm
He
telling
could have
you.
played back in those 90s, with
He
y'all.
went to App State and then went to Youngstown State, and I don't know what's happened to him now, but he was a very good football player and really tough,
Yeah.
and a big weightlifter. He was huge in lifting, you know, and he'd go both ways a lot of times.
Coach, what do you think is, in all your time coaching, one of the best in-game adjustments that you ever made that kind of flipped the game that you won on defense?
Bolton was there, man. Coach Bolton, we were over in Crest.
Crest, I was about to say.
Man,
The heavy package.
if that guy had kept throwing the football, they'd have killed us. But he gets in this heavy package, and man, they're stoning us. And everybody starts screaming at one of our defensive ends, and I said, "Look, man, it isn't his fault. The linebacker's blowing through A gap. He needs to be going through C gap." So we made a few adjustments at halftime and ended up shutting them out. And then offense scored, you know, a couple of big plays, and man, we won that game because I watched Crest on film today. Man, that team is flat loaded. I mean, they got
him.
and they're playing Ashbrook, I think, this week.
Yeah, that'd be a big one.
8-1 versus 7-1, and they lost to Weddington. Crest lost to Weddington. I watched a little bit of that game today as well. But
would you say that's one of your the best wins, you know, last year? Like out of all your wins?
Yeah, especially up in North Carolina, us winning that was good. And then this year, man, the Shelby game, because you know,
Yes,
I think
that was a big one for y'all.
we had like 4 sophomores. We had 4 sophomores playing defense now, and man, they're not strong enough, but you know, they play hard, and that did it. And a little bit of scheme got involved with that. You know, we found a couple of little deals we could do to help us scheme wise. But yeah, there's no doubt that was a good
That
football
was a
game.
crazy game.
That was
Yeah.
complimentary of the offense and defense.
I think it was
They
like
really played together.
23. It's 23-10 at half or something.
Yeah,
We came back and
come out
won.
and score quick, and then we just made some plays on defense and
Mhm.
stopped that stuff.
It's crazy, man. Great game. Great
Yeah,
game by the defense.
We got a
too.
great football team, man.
They do.
Good
They
coaching.
do.
They're really good program.
Jamie, what about you?
You know, that right there, that little, Gaffney and
Mhm.
Kings Mountain, Shelby, and, those are all kind of the same genre of people, that they just good old hard nosed people, man. They love football.
Coaches, we all know weekends are extremely busy between self-evaluating and game planning for the next opponent. But it doesn't have to mean long nights buried in film and spreadsheets. With optimum grading, you can cut the grind way down while actually getting better results. The platform streamlines your grading process, gives you cleaner reports, and makes it simple to share feedback with your staff, players, and even college coaches. That means less time on busy work and more time where it really counts, coaching your team, preparing for the next opponent, or even spending those extra hours with your family. Optimum Grading was built by coaches who get the grind and is designed to give you your weekends back without sacrificing the details your players need. More coaching, less paperwork. That's the optimum difference. If you're looking to take your team to the next level and save some time on the weekends, head over to OptimumGrading.com. Schedule a demo and use the promo code CoachSpeak for 10% off.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that game too, for me, I thought the second half adjustment of getting power right. Like we wanted to go in there and run a couple tight ends, run power, and then we popped one for like 83 yards. Got us back in the game. I think it was 23-17. We get another stop. We go score again. I think that
Yeah.
was a big, just second half adjustment. I thought really was, and not even a scheme adjustment as much as just making sure our kids knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And but no, that one, and then maybe the one from Clover this year. That was a good one in the second half.
That's
Come
what,
back there, but
that was mine.
Don't
we were
play
down.
into
We were
overtime.
down something similar. Weren't we down 20?
It was
What
21-7
was
at
it?
half.
21-7 with 7
Mhm.
minutes left in the
Yep.
game.
Yep.
And,
That was mine. That's mine.
Yeah.
Just
You had a second half shutout. Yeah.
giving 21 points up off of just bonehead mistakes, man. Just not reading your keys. Like we're pretty decent at alignment, but we'll get lost sometimes. And I do feel like as far as calling the defense, I was a little more conservative in the first half. I was like, man, we're mono e mono. We'll stay base mode most of the game, read our keys, fit the run, we'll be okay. And it's just one of those games where the running back was much better than I thought he was. He was just shifty. You fit the run great, and he's still going to find 4 yards. And it was like, darn, we got to do something to get this guy off. Can't think of the word right now. Off schedule. So we had to mix in a little bit more stunt mode in the second half, and just get back to what we do. And that was a big one in double overtime. That was a good game.
We win it in 2008, and then in 2009 we get beat in the Upper State Championship, and then in 2010 we played Myrtle Beach for the state championship again. That was Clowney's senior year. Gerald Dixon. We had a good football team, but we lost to two state. We lost an ESPN game in Northwestern. We had like 5 turnovers, and man, we were running a flex bone because Rock Hill School District was on a hiring freeze, and we had lost Greg Taylor, our offensive coordinator, from the year before. He got a head job at Myers Park and had to hire within. And I'm not saying it was bad, but we ran the flex bone and went 13-2. But when we got and this isn't any, I don't even remember who Myrtle Beach's opponents were, but when we watched the film on them, we couldn't tell if they were any good or not because the teams they were playing didn't appear to be real good. And
I was on one of those scout teams, Coach. It was,
really?
In 2010, I was a ninth grader. They pulled up halfway through the season to play guard.
That's
and
awesome.
all I remember, we played Myrtle Beach, and man, I didn't know anything about football. It was my second year really playing. And the right guard was supposed to pull left, and I was the left guard, and we both pulled and ran smack into each other. So I was on one of those teams that you watched, Coach.
But I remember Golson, because of Clowney, he's in a shotgun, and they got him 8 yards deep. Clowney sacks him on the first play, and then we end up losing the game 27-23, and they scored on a 4th and 10. They threw it in the end zone and scored. And And, you give up fourth and 10, that's not a good deal. It's like, I hope Ed Susie's watching this. And I remember losing to Fort Mill one night, and I think we gave up a 4th and 20. And I mean, they were a good football team, but man, you can't give up 4th and 20 and expect to win. I don't think so.
They had a good team that year.
Yeah, they did.
They won like 10 games.
He's a good football coach. I think he's at Battery Creek now.
He is. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never met him,
Good
but
football coach.
everybody says the same thing about him. He's a good football coach, and obviously coached against him. But
Big
yeah.
Ohio fan.
So here's one kind of off the wall here, Coach. What's the craziest thing a parent has ever said to you after a game? Have you ever had like a crazy interaction with like a parent?
Oh yeah, man. We were at York, and man, we had somebody playing quarterback, and this dude's granddaddy thought he should have been the quarterback. And it's after the game, we've already talked to the players, and they split up, and I'm walking. I'd say I talked to Sherry and my family and my mama, whoever, I try to head on in, get out of the way. And this guy was doing this money, money, money. Saying, what on God's earth is he talking about? And he said, yeah, this guy's, I think it was I don't know if it was his dad or his granddad. He's like, somebody had paid us 3 dudes right here, money to let this other kid quarterback.
That's
And
wild.
I usually don't listen to them. And I remember telling y'all, I said, look, man, if a parent comes up to y'all, tell them to come see me, because I don't want y'all to have to deal with that, because some of y'all got short fuses, man. I didn't want y'all to get in trouble for having.
I don't know what you're talking about, Coach. We're even kill, where it's cool and collected.
It just, I don't know. That's the only, I remember that. I was riding through York the other day, and I said, yeah, that dude was sitting there saying, money, money, money. Like they're paying us,
Hey man, I remember one parent, I guess, got irate at us for something, probably for losing a game or something. And he came up and apologized several weeks later and said, "Hey man, sorry I got the red ass." He shook my hand and walked away.
Yeah,
I've never heard of a parent apologize. So hats off to him for kind of
That's
apologizing
awesome.
there. But
Man, I
I
never.
saw that kid at a wedding the other day, and he was drinking beer, and I said, hey man, see me after practice. You're drinking. He'd been out of high
dude,
school.
I'll tell you what, man, that kid was kind of a baller for his athleticism. He was probably like a 6 out of 10 like athlete, but man, he played like at times he was a pretty dang good football player. He'd block.
Yeah.
He had a little crap to him. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't afraid, but he was a good little player.
Yeah, he was.
I like Nation Ford. Hey man, can you make this pass?
Hey man, he said no. He said no. He said, I can't make that throw. And then the other quarterback says, I'll do it. And guess what? He did rip it for a touchdown. That was a great one. I show people that clip all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I was in the end zone.
Look,
I was in the end zone celebrating.
Coach,
we didn't win any state championships at York, but man, we had a good time.
Oh yeah,
we did. Man.
Oh yeah,
some big wins. Hey man, how about the Ridgeview wins? Like the Ridgeview wins were pretty. We're pretty.
Yeah, and we pull across the field and say, "Hold on, man, you need to be ashamed of yourself."
Hey man, I remember one game. I was standing there, and the coach comes up to you out there and says, "What coverage are y'all playing?" Because like when we played at York, it was like 5 picks or something. He was just like, "Man, what coverage are y'all playing?" Man, mine was. I remember my first year as an OC. It was senior night, and the senior quarterback was not any good. And we had a 10th grader that went to NFA camps and knew the R4, and man, he just got it, and he was balling out. And some dad that has nothing to do with it messages me on Twitter and said, "I'm hearing rumbles that you're not going to start the senior quarterback on senior night. I think that's very shady." And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to win the game. Like we're trying to play the best kid, and I'm coming down at halftime, and I think it's a tie game, and he screams, "Still can't believe the senior guy's not starting, dude. It's a tie game. Like, what do you mean? Like that was the craziest thing I ever dealt with."
Well, what gets me is, hey, the mom will call and say, "Look, Johnny's not coming today because it's his birthday. Will he suffer any consequences?" And I mean,
Coach,
what
we
do
got
you,
back to school shopping.
birthday?
Back to
You know,
school shopping, Coach. Got to go
yeah,
get some shoes.
that's right. Yeah.
Mm.
I watched,
Y'all.
man, in my early days of coaching, kid missed a practice and he said, all right, dude, you got 1,000 yards of grass drills. Every 5 yards, hit it, run 5, hit it. Well, the kid got 800 and it's about 100 degrees outside. He said, Coach, I can't go nowhere. He said, well, I turn his stuff in. He sent him back, man. And the guy was a really good player. And I just, that was back in those hard days, and
Yeah.
things have really changed. I'm telling you,
Well, it's
really.
hard now, man. I mean, I remember being a young coach, and I was a receiver coach for you, and this kind of taught me something too about rules. And it's Friday night. I think one of the rules was you had to have like the same color socks on or something. Like you say, hey man, you got to wear black or something like that. Well, the kid
Yeah.
comes out there, and I'm like, come on, man. You got like freaking neon green socks on, man. He's like, Coach, I ain't taking these off for nobody. And he was like our best player, dude. Like I'm talking about Bard. He would be the guy on his back flap. He wore $100 bill on his back flap.
Yeah.
I was about to go out there
Oh,
and
yeah.
ball out. And he goes over there. He's like, I'm going to talk to Coach Carroll. So apparently he goes and talks to you. He comes back and said, see, I told you. But what he didn't tell me was I think you had a conversation with him because before the game started, he actually changed those socks. But you had a way with those kids to be able to hold them accountable, but not to the point where it was super punitive all the time. Like you got the best out of them, especially on a Friday night where you needed a guy to go play. And I mean, that's a simple little rule, but something I learned from you, man. I really appreciate it.
Well, winning kind of breeds that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? If you're winning, it's hard to badmouth somebody and say, oh, man, they don't know what he's doing or they don't know what they're doing,
Right.
'cause it wasn't me. That's like, y'all didn't work for me. Y'all worked with me. That's how I look at it, and I just appreciated everything you guys always did. And there were some good days at York because
It's fun.
they've only been to one state championship in the history of the school. And we went that time in 14. And, of course we didn't win it, but, we got beat by a
Have a
better
chance. Yeah, that was a good run. That was a good run.
better team. Yeah.
Justin, you want to go with any more?
Thank you, man. You boys get y'all a head job. And as long as I can still walk, man, and I don't have to be no coordinator, I'll just be a position coach. But
Coach,
there'll be a lot of arguments in there. Yeah.
oh man,
That'd be
We'll all
fun.
love on each other at the end of the day.
Hey
easy.
man, I like
easy.
coaching with you as when you were the DC and I was the OC because I didn't hold back.
Oh,
Dude, like not that we were like going at it, but it was just fun, man. It was like I
we
didn't
went at it
you
that
weren't going to
first
fire
year. The
me.
second year, we didn't go at it. We didn't.
No. Second year was fine because we were a little better on
Man, I
offense.
got
We were
you
better on offense year
bad
2, so it
influence
wasn't
on
as
the
bad.
other young coaches. I tried not to say a word. Hell, y'all were always arguing with the players.
Yeah, man, I hate when a dang defensive end wants to run his mouth. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, it's not a sack. And he's like, you're
Hey,
talking to
man,
a player. I was like, dude, I just said it wasn't a sack. Like, calm down.
Hey man, here's Bobby's thing. If you're ever getting into it with Bobby at practice, he goes, I got you. It's like, all right, just
I got you,
move
coach. All
on.
right,
It's
man.
done. I got you, man. I got you.
I got you.
Legion, man, him and Spencer would always be going at it. And he just looked at Spencer and say, I got you. I got you.
I gotta say, I gotta tell the story.
Oh, yeah.
So this is at one school. I'm not gonna say what school it is, but Bobby will hold you accountable. Coach Carroll will hold you accountable for your position group, and I do the same thing. And one of the coaches said, I don't know how it went down, but it was like you told a coach, "Hey man, you got to tell the star to no, you got to tell the star to do whatever." and he's like, "Coach, I did tell him. He's right here." And he's like, "No," and you said, "No, coach, that's the jack."
Right,
Right
man.
then, he got embarrassed
Hey,
and
the
walked
Jack's
straight
over
off
there.
the field.
Go over there and coach the Jack. That's the star. Man, it
He didn't
was
even know
terrible.
he was coaching, man. Oh my gosh, good times.
I'm
Good
sorry,
times.
man. I quit doing all that stuff. I'm running the scout team defense now against the offense. I have a lot of fun doing that.
Good, man.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Coach,
Like today,
man.
we went out there today and worked on cover 5 out of mint, and it's the same rules. Then we had an auto check against double twins. We're gonna play Meg, mint for Meg, And then after we did that, we went 10-play script in the red area. And because, down inside, man, they're going to run inside zone and outside zone. They don't run GT count or anything. And then we flipped it around and went third long drill. And they don't run the zone quarterback keep, they don't fake the zone right, keep it left. Well, here we go running that. And I'm thinking, dude, we only have 9 plays. The quarterback never runs the ball. He's a gunslinger. And we went third and long, and then we went a 20-play script team. And, man, our 2 scout team huddles did great. And that was a wrap, That was
Heck yeah,
practice.
Hayes in the barn, man.
Yeah.
Sure
Tomorrow will be
is.
our practice like last year when you were there.
Mm.
I still like that Thursday practice we used to do at York.
I loved
That
it.
sudden change,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we do a version of that here at
Yeah.
Rock Hill. It's good.
Yeah.
Coach.
Straight's he's done a good job with the practice schedule. He gives us the template and then we fill it out. But the time's right, man. It's going a lot faster now.
That's good.
Yeah, that sudden change is good. I love just going straight into that. Like, let's rep what we're going to see. And
we had a touchdown club at York. And I know it was getting close to Christmas, but I really wish I could have taken you guys with me. And because they would have let us in to Bama and just, man, that is amazing. And then one year on the way home from Tuscaloosa, it was after Georgia and Alabama had played for SEC championship, and Alabama won. And I think Georgia was playing Florida State. I don't know. But we stopped in Athens, and Sam Pittman, who just lost his job at Arkansas, was the offensive line coach. And we'd gotten to know him real well. And we said, hey, Coach, can we come in and, watch practice? So Spencer and I stopped in there, and I don't think Dante was with us by then, but we stopped in there and watched it. And it was amazing to watch the different mode of practice. One of them was extremely physical at Georgia, and Alabama, I think, was more of a thud up type deal. And it was really amazing. But Coach Smart, I'll tell y'all one quick story. Coach Smart was recruiting Clowney, and he had just had twins or just had a baby or something. And I said, he said, man, I don't know what to do, man. My wife, she's driving me crazy. These kids, he's got 3 kids or whatever, and it might have been twins. I can't remember. And I said, Coach Smart, man, as much money as you make, hire a nanny to take care of them babies. He said, man, that is a great idea. So I didn't see him again till I went to Georgia, and I said, Coach Smart, how did that nanny work out? He said, man, it wasn't worth a shit. He said, I'm still catching. It was funny he could remember that. And
that's pretty cool.
that's a ball coaching machine, man, right there. I'm telling you.
Different breed, man.
Just the pace that those dudes. I mean, I do not understand. Y'all know, man, the whole Rip Liz Maxwell and the skate and the stubby and the stump and the box and the mods. And I don't know how them guys retain all that. I mean, it's crazy. And it's so many checks, and, they use those plug words, like mint. Like they might call mint 4 mod auto strong Jack 6 alert. It's this long. It's this long, and they narrow it down to one word, and bam, they can do it real well. It's just it's crazy.
Yeah. I know Skittles is a big one. They'll be like, check Skittles,
Right.
and it's like 7 formation families, and it's a
So they call it
one for
reverse
each
checking.
one. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is, man. It's almost, you see them make a lot of mistakes, and you wonder sometimes, because it's got to be mental, because those players, those are really, really, really good athletes.
Yeah, and they got them all day too, and they pay $them millions now. So now it's probably like even easier to get the kids to do it. Maybe
it's
maybe
like
harder. I don't know.
The quarterback from Alabama, I don't even know his name, and I watched him play, and he took some NIL money and flew his dad in there to watch him play Tennessee the other night. His dad's the head coach at UT Martin.
I saw him in the stands. Yeah.
He said, I used some NIL money and flew my dad in here and got him right to the game.
That's
It was
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, they just played that day, I think too. So
Mhm.
it's
You know,
crazy,
man,
man.
truth be known, they probably been paying them for years.
Oh,
They
yeah.
don't legally do it, you know?
Mhm.
And they ought to. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
you know, some of the stipulations on being a Division I athlete and not being able to work and all this. Well, man, if you're on a band scholarship to Vanderbilt and you go downtown and sing and get paid for it, do you lose your scholarship? What's wrong with a football player doing something?
Right.
You
They're
know,
making
crazy.
billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
They're making all these institutions. But man, this has been fun, Coach. We appreciate you being on, and
Hey, man, we'll do part 2 in a couple months.
I'd love
No
to.
doubt.
I'd love to. Once the season's over, we can do like a story version, just nothing but Bobby Carroll stories, and
War
we'll be
stories.
good.
Years, man. That's a long time, man. I hear these kids now and how old's your mom and daddy? And they say, oh, they're 28. I'm thinking, God,
That's
I love
wild.
this, man. I'm old.
That's crazy.
I got a
Yeah.
son, 30.
Yeah.
And you two boys, how old are y'all? 30.
I'm
Jamie, you
30. I'm 38. I'll
uh,
be 38 in a couple months.
30. Me and Spence
Old guy.
2 months apart.
Oh yeah. All right, guys, it's been great, Coach. We appreciate you. Appreciate you being on, man. I know it's in the middle of the season, and you guys are, getting ready for the playoffs. And but man, thank you so much for being on, and hopefully we can get caught up in a few months.
Yep.
hey, man, I love you two boys. Y'all keep doing what you do.
Love you, Coach.
And when the bands gets back together, we're going to have some more good times.
Rocking and rolling, man.
Yeah.
Well, guys, don't forget to use promo code Coach Speak with our awesome partners. We got Team Builder Practice, R for Football Systems, Pro Quick Draw, and Optimum Grading. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks for tuning into the Coach Speak podcast. If you're interested in being a guest speaker on the show, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at coachspeakpodcast1@gmail.com. And if you have a question for our Q&A segment, don't forget to submit it through the form in the episode description. We appreciate your support, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.